I want to start by presenting ISEG, first of all, and why it makes sense to come to ISEG and the ISEG Executive Education. And then I'll move on to the specifics of the MBA. We also have with us Luciana, which is a student that is about to finish in a month or less. So she's been with us for some time, a year and a half, more or less. And I know that you trust her opinion more than mine. So she's here to tell us what it was like to be in the program and what she got from the program. So starting from ISEG, ISEG, for the ones that are not familiar with the school, especially international students, is one school that is a triple crown school. Triple crown means you have these triple accreditations, EQUIS, AACSB, and AMBA. So only 1% of schools have that. And then there's also the FT. So we are listed on the FT, so 67 as a business school, so very distinct compared to other, universities, schools in the world. Again, this is part of the University of Lisbon, which is the largest university in this country, one of the biggest in the world, so 200 more or less. So we know a thing or two about these topics. All right. The school itself, ISEG, is about 5,000 students looking for a bachelor, master, and PhDs. But then there are another 5,000 students in executive education, meaning open programs, short programs, and post-graduation programs. And of course, the MBA that is also part of the executive education. And again, if you come around, and some of you will be here, I'm sure, I hope Sophia is there, there are 30% international students in the campus. So a lot of people coming from Germany and France and Italy and Austria and so on. So it's quite an international audience that we see in our school. So again, the school, there are many schools, and for us, one distinct feature really is the fact that we want to approach management in a responsible way. So responsibility, the SDGs are very important to us, and everything we do is measured against those. So there are reports really trying to put all the activities we do in different areas. Might be research, might be teaching, might be seminars, it might be all activities really into all these development goals. And we are very happy that we do contribute to some of them extensively. Again, it's a very rigorous school, so quantitative has been with us for a long time, so it's not by chance that we have the mathematics department, which is quite unusual for a business school, but we do have a mathematics department, and they will be involved in most programs, giving students a really good quantitative background. It's very inclusive. You're going to have people with, for instance, disabilities, and this is something we take very dearly, and I think it makes it a little bit different from the rest. Again, it's a very lively school. It's always something going on in the school. There's a statistic that says there are more or less like 300 events per year. So it's like an event per day. So it's always something going on. It's very lively, and you're going to be here and you'll see it how it goes. So this gives you these images gives you an idea how it looks like being in a classroom, being a graduation, and being in the facilities that we have, including a mini forest, by the way. So the ISEG MBA in particular, is also benefiting from the fact we are triple accredited, which is really good. The school is being featured in the Financial Times, so that's a good thing also. And again, there are a number of things that MBAs have, and they have in common. All right. So the fact that MBA is accredited by AMBA, and which is one of our accreditations, means that every school that has the AMBA accreditation has to follow a certain number of procedures and the way of teaching, assessing student learning, and so on. So there are some parts that accredited schools have to follow. So those are going to be the same for every school. Otherwise, they will not be accredited. Now, once you pass that, then what is the difference between A, B, and C, or a national one or international one? So then that's how you put it together. And this is really what makes us, I think, different from the rest. First of all, and Luciana may remember this because it was last year, there's the Air Force Academy. The Air Force Academy is a weekend where you go to the military. You go to the Army. And it's quite interesting, it was like 3 weeks ago, the last edition is been there. And you are transformed while you're there because in terms of leadership, in terms of teamwork, you see those things coming together. And as a group, you do come up strong. So there's a before going to the Air Force and there's an after the Air Force. Again, there's the technical, which is the School of Engineering of the University of Lisbon, and that it is by far the biggest and best School of Engineering in Portugal and one of the best in Europe. And what it does is we have a partnership with them. So some topics will be provided and given by professors coming from technical. So we realize and understand we cannot be good in everything. So we look for partners within our school that can excel in some areas. That's what we do. We also have one thing that's very interesting, and I'll ask Luciana later on to talk a little bit about this because she's been there not so long ago. And that's the University of San Francisco Immersion Program. So we take all students to San Francisco in the US. It takes about 12 hours to get there, but good enough. There's a direct flight from TAP, which is nice. But then again, you're there for 1 week. And during that week, you're going to be exposed to an ecosystem that people can only dream about. And when I say dream, meaning, that's where the new ideas, the innovation, the Claude AI was developed. That's where the Intel is. That's where Verizon is. There's so many companies there that kind of were launched on that spot. And when I mean spot, I mean like a 1 kilometer radius. It's amazing. In 1 kilometer, how many companies were emerging? It's like mushrooms. And you're going to understand the ecosystem. You're going to understand how it is possible to come up with so many examples in a single place. And again, Luciana can talk about that because she was exposed to all that. And people from the University of San Francisco, they're also teaching the School of Business, right, of the University of San Francisco. They were also there teaching some topics. So students, once they return, they come up with full of energy. The problem is, and I must be honest with you, is when you return, sometimes when you get here after 2 weeks, 3 weeks, then you don't see really the context that you see over there, and all that energy and the new ideas and new ventures you might think about, will take longer to do and to follow, and sometimes not even won't even do it. So, but then again, you understand how it works, and this is something we think it's really good for the program, and we've been doing this for the last 16 years. So it has evolved; it's getting better all the time. There's also a really good personal development plan for the program, and that you'll see it here. So there's a number of things in terms of human resources that are important, not just things like mindfulness for business or career development plan or leadership. You're going to have tools to measure your leadership style, and then we'll have coaching. So there will be a coach working you, throughout, some time to develop that personal part of it. But then, of course, there will be the core courses. Finance will be there, marketing has to be there. I'm going to be the professor of marketing, by the way. So marketing will be there, operations, human resources. So there are a number of topics that every MBA has to offer. There's no other way around this. The thing we're trying to push more and more is to make the class more interactive. Don't be afraid of AI, not you, not the professor. So you use AI for explaining topics, making sure you are aware that sometimes those AI platforms invent a lot. There's a lot of illusions. But then again, the idea is to use all that information in order to someone is saying to me that the presentation is not showing. Am I missing the presentation?
Yeah, Professor, I was about to tell you that, but I was not sure if you were supposed to be already presenting or if you were just, making an introduction, which was quite nice. So it's okay. So if you can, please just try to share the presentation to try to illustrate what you are already saying, which is quite interesting. And maybe while you are doing it, I can comment on a few things that you just said. So, but yeah, that's it. Now we can see it. Yeah, not on full screen.
Sorry, guys. So I thought everybody was seeing this because I'm seeing it.
Yeah. Okay. Now we can. Okay, but now we can. So you can go ahead and go through the
okay. So this is the bit where I was talking about the core courses and the topics you need to you're going to be teaching and learning from. So there's going to be things on marketing, of course, and corporate reporting and corporate finance that always is a killer, they tell me, and again, sustainability is also there too. There's going to be immersions also in Lisbon, so it's not just about going into the US, right? It's also about understanding the Portuguese ecosystem. So there's visits to Portuguese companies, to companies that are global, companies that have succeeded in international world, have a global approach, and again, this is part of the MBA too. So it's not just sitting in a classroom and pay attention and listening. No, that's not the way we want to do it. The way we do it and the way we want to do it is to have interactive sessions where everybody can participate. Group work is really fundamental, and so again, you'll see that. Luciana, do you want to add something to these things? To the core courses, the flow, the mix of more hard and soft, the way we organize the timetable or the calendar, and also a little bit about the USF, so San Francisco Immersion Week.
Yeah, sure. So when it comes to the program itself, and as you were presenting all the topics, the marketing one or corporate finance, or the truth is that it really depends on our own background, right? So this is an universal truth. I would say that depending on the background, we will struggle with different topics, right? So this is, and I say the word struggle because I think this is when you struggle is when you thrive, right? So it's good that you struggle a bit if you are doing an MBA, I would say. But the good thing is that we have all the materials needed. The professors are quite engaging, and they really try to just be available whenever we have questions, or we even had a lot of professors suggesting extra online classes, to if we had any questions for the exams or something like that. So we have all the support, that we need, I would say, to positively complete the full program. And it was really interesting to see that some of the topics were very interesting, and I would say the best ones for some colleagues, but for other colleagues they were terrible. They just said that I just want to get the things done and move to the next one. And this is, I think, the beauty of the MBA. Is how diverse actually the experience can be. But one thing is for sure, and you already mentioned it, and because it's quite related with San Francisco as well and with the Air Force Academy, which is the bonding that people need to have in this kind of experience. And we have it here on ISEG because people really rely on each other, to complete the tasks, to actually do it on time, because that's another of the challenges of the MBA. And I'm sure that people that are hearing us think about the time that this might be very demanding, right, in terms of personal life and everything. So you can only do it if you rely on your colleagues and you just capitalize on whatever is the top or the best experience and expertise of each one, right? So you can just rely on that and be confident that everything will be okay at the end, because I assure you that it will be. So that's the good thing. And when you go to San Francisco or even to the Air Force Academy, that's where the bonding actually gets stronger, I would say, because people are really exposed to different ecosystems, as you said, and it's really hard for us to describe or to even try to illustrate what you live there, because it's really, really, really unique. You need to be there to feel it and to embrace it. But we can all agree that we are actually being challenged outside of our comfort zone, for sure, right? I mean, Air Force, right? Or Silicon Valley, which is the totally full speed and I don't know, high tech environment. And as you said, when you come back, you realize that maybe things have a different pace here, right? At least in Portugal. But that's what actually, it's a good thing as well, because it really plants a seed on your brain that you can do more, that you should do more, right? And that's when you are an MBA student, almost graduating, I mean, you really need to step up and maybe do things differently than you did before, because otherwise, why were you here, right, for 1.5 years? So it's a really, really cool, I would say, environment. So these experiences are great and fundamental. And as you said, I mean, in terms of personal development, the program, it's a very complete one. And I mean, I did it myself. I mean, I checked all the MBAs right before joining ISEG. So I joined ISEG because I really thought it was actually a very unique and kind of more practical maybe experience. So I think that was my trigger. It was really that it would be more connected with the real life or business real life perspective. And I was not wrong, because we have all these practical cases. So it's not only about theory, right? I mean, we are constantly being challenged with practical cases and with presentations about those cases, and even bringing our own examples at our own companies sometimes to perform some presentations and some analysis. So in that sense, I think it's a very great connection, between the theory world, right, and the business real world. So.
Yeah, Luciana, there are two things that students, every time I interview them, ask me. One of them is, how is it to be in a class like this? What's the atmosphere? How do people relate to each other? And I want to believe this is one of the things that makes ISEG a little bit different from the rest. So the group dynamics, the fact that students depend a lot on the group and they're not really on their own. They have people to support. Even sometimes someone may be sick or something, and things don't stop. The rest of the group will take over and do whatever it has to be done. So this is one of the things I think makes it different, and I'd like you to talk a little bit about that. So again, the group work and the fact that people are working. And by the way, this is a program that always happens between Fridays afternoons and Saturdays mornings. So again, it's pretty much concentrated at the weekend. And how can you manage and cope with your professional life? Can you talk about that a little bit? So the professional life and the timetables and also the group work.
Yeah, sure. And that's one of the things that I love the most during my program. And of course, I mean, the group work, it's about people, right? So it will always depend on the people that you have at your own edition. So each edition will be different. But one thing is for sure, ISEG really tries to promote the group work. And how? Well, probably with one thing, that when you hear it at the beginning, you will hate it, but then you will love it, I'm sure, by the end of the MBA, which is, we were very advised to rotate the groups, so we would not be on the same group all the time. And I think that's a wonderful thing to really create the experience, the full experience and the bonding between everyone. And so you start with a certain topic, and you do a group work with 5 people, but then you rotate, okay? And then you have another, not all the time, I mean, you rotate per block, right? But each block you have a different group to work with. And that's really, really, really good, because you get to know everybody, you get to really feel the experience and the different backgrounds and experiences that we have in the group. And on top, you test yourself, right? I mean, you have to deal with more different personalities, you have to deal more with different ways of leading as well, because, well, that's one of the things at the MBA. Everybody is a leader, or everybody wants to be a leader, and it's trying to build that path. So, and different leaderships, right? Different approaches. So you need to deal with all of that in a very, very short time. So that's very, very enriching, I would say, and a very, very good thing. And as you were saying, Professor, I mean, if someone gets sick, which happened, of course, if someone cannot go because they have, a kids play, that they need to go with their kids, or that they have to go to the doctor because the kid is sick or whatever, I mean, what the others will take over for sure, So we are not alone, on doing the program and all the essays. I mean, it's a group, and most, I would say 95% of the assignments, right, are group works. So it's really always relying on the group. So that's not an issue at all, and it's a very unique thing, I would say, at ISEG, because it really builds the group spirit, working this way with rotation.
Yeah, this is very important, because we understand you as executives. I mean, you have a professional life, you are very busy. It's very difficult to look at this, and it's very frightening. I remember one of you was telling me, this is very frightening, because I know that for 18 months, so for 1 year and a half, my weekends, most of them will be gone. And sometimes you may have kids, very small kids, and family to support. So you need to understand that this is not a single one trip made by just one of you. This is a group work and the group learning environment. So the group here is very, very important. I know there's going to be competition, everybody will going to lead, but then again, it's up to you to also develop these personal skills, if you want, in terms of not just time management, but also conflict management, so there's a number of things you're going to learn beside, finance and human resources and so on.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, and the personal life, as you were saying, I think that's the scariest thing, indeed, when people are thinking about joining an MBA, because we always look at the big picture. Oh my God, it will be 1 year and a half. This is really, really a lot. But I can definitely say that due to COVID, so it has a bright side as well. We have online, we have a lot of things that we can do. Sit back at home, and not being all the time at ISEG. So that really helps on managing family time and everything. But of course, it is a commitment, and people that go to an MBA need to be aware of that and need to have their families on board as well, right? On, of course, compensating. But I can tell you, we had at least 2 colleagues with little twins, twin kids. I mean, so you can imagine the amount of work that they had, but they made it, right? So it's really about using the group work, as you were saying, in the group spirit, and at the same time, of course, being organized and being very time skilled for people, I would say, in general. But as you were saying, you even learn how to do it. So I think in the first months it's a bit strange, and you are just trying to adapt. But then, to be honest, it's your normal environment, and you just keep going. It is what it is. So it's doable.
Yeah, you're going to be busy for some time, and what happens afterwards is it kind of there's time left, right? So after a while, when you're about to finish, then you go like, what? I usually have something to do,
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I'm already feeling it. Yeah. That's it.
Already feeling it, right? So
yes.
It's getting busy, but then again, it's very concentrated. So thank you. So in terms of, I'm going to give you some time for you to ask questions, right? So I think in the end, it's more important questions are the ones that you have. So try to answer those. But let me give you some requirements if you want, if you're thinking of a program like this. So first of all, you got to have experience. I mean, average age in the program, 36. I won't tell Luciana's age, but average age is 36. So you got to have some experience, minimum 5, usually 10. And you got to be fluent in English. Otherwise, you're going to have, going to struggle because the whole program is in English. And of course, the interview will, explore all these topics, right? So of course, you got to be graduated. You got to have a bachelor. If you don't have some background in mathematics, that's okay. You might need some extra help from your colleagues, because there's, MBAs have finance, MBAs have operations, and so on. So some of those things do require a little bit of quantitative. I know someone from technical that is laughing when I'm saying this, because basically it doesn't have any problem with this. But anyway, this is something you got to have, and you have to produce all these things. So that, Ines can also help you with this, because she's the one that takes care of all that. So again, just a couple of things that will stick in your mind. So first of all, is in person. Yes, we have teams sometimes, and it happened more than once that one person of the group was not in the classroom. He was in a conference, was elsewhere in a different country, and he managed to participate in the presentation. So because we have access, online access to the class, but still it's an in-person thing. So it's and cannot compare. I mean, the fact that you can have a coffee together, you can talk a little bit over in the break. This is something you cannot do if you are in an online program.
Yeah, and Professor, let me just add to that, because people might be at home thinking, oh yeah, but I mean, it's good to be flexible. Well, I have to share with you that whenever some of us had to skip class because due to some commitments, professional commitments, whatever, we were actually sad. We were actually like trying to change the class date or something like that, like so we could be all together. So it will not be an issue. Whenever, you just need to bear in mind that Fridays afternoon and Saturday mornings, it's for this, and then you will just make it happen. And I'm sure that you will be very happy to be there face to face, because it really makes a difference for sure.
Yeah, I mean, in online, there are MBA, online, completely online. I totally understand. It's a completely different product. Nothing compared to this. The hybrid model is very strange. I don't like that. So either is an in-person or is a completely online program. There is a different system behind it, a new platform. So you have your own pace. But this is not the case. So things happen here, and we are very glad with the format. So again, as I mentioned, it takes about 18 months. And in terms of tuition, this is the price. It's more or less the same as other programs in Lisbon, a little bit probably below some of them. So it includes, so the 25 includes the enrollment fee and the flight and the accommodation in San Francisco. This is important, right? So this is included. Sometimes when you see tuitions, some of these fees related to flight and accommodation are not included. So do your calculations, all right? And then, of course, you can pay in several installments. If you're lucky to be part of the alumni, from the University of Lisbon, it's fantastic. You're going to get 10% discount. If you are from technical, we even get 20% discount, so really good. And if you decide to pay it in full, so you get an extra 5%. Of course, there are companies sending us students, so we have different prices for them. So this is basically concludes my presentation. Now I would pass to Luciana if you want to say something else, Luciana, and then let Inés also intervene, and then up to you.
Sure, thank you. So maybe, I can just make a wrap up of the experience. We were already going through it during the past 30 minutes, but I just want to bring a word that might be scaring, but actually, it's at the end of the day, it's for me, it was the best thing out of it, which is pressure. It really is a high pressure environment. It is. That's for sure, and that's when you are, evaluating if you want to apply, if you want to really go on board an MBA, that will push you back probably. But actually, that really is what makes you. Go forward, and really thrive on whatever you do, because we are exposed to a high pressure environment. But it's not only about Fridays and Saturdays. It's really at the classroom. I mean, you have 15 minutes to go with an article and just make a short presentation right at the end with a 5 minutes or 2 minute speech. I mean, yeah, that happens. And at the beginning, you will freak out a bit, but then you just really get brainwashed in how to be efficient, in how to really be able to analyze a situation, really decide what matters, what doesn't matter, and to actually take decisions, right? And then make a full presentation about it, wrapping up and focusing on the added value that you want to bring with your own pitch and with your own presentation. And this is, in a nutshell, I would say, what we call leadership, right? I mean, because leadership is about it, right? It's about that. It's really about taking decisions or making decisions in a high pressure environment, and while you are inspiring others. And that will happen because in a few topics you will be the best in class, maybe, in your group, and you will just be the leader and helping others. But other times, to be honest, you will be the dumbest one, and this is so good. It's so good to actually be in an environment where you have this vulnerability, of feeling that you are the one that knows less about a topic, but that will be able, with the help of your group, to really contribute, and just have a final piece that has your name on it as well, and that if you were doing it alone, you would probably need, I don't know, but a lot of extra time and effort. So it really is a good thing and a good experience. You are exposed to pressure, but while pressure makes diamonds, right? As we were always saying. And I truly believe that that's one of the highest things and highest highlights of an MBA, because then you go to your own company and you feel it. You feel the rush. You feel that you are a different person. You really want things faster. You want things more efficient. You will be more demanding, with the people that you work with. But at the same time, you will be more understanding, because you will be exposed to this helicopter view, of the business perspective, and you will be able to develop your empathy, towards others and towards other functions that maybe before you were always like questioning, why is this person taking so long to reply, or why is this person raising this question from different departments, right? And now you can really understand and connect. And be a piece of a whole big picture that needs to work together. Wherever we want it or not, we need to work all together. And I think MBA really helps you on developing those skills for sure. So it really is pressure, but it's totally worth it. Yeah.
So one of the the attendees is asking us, well, what is the profile of the cohort, so in terms of age. So I already mentioned that average age is around 36, 38. So it really depends. Again, it's going to be around that. In terms of industries, there's quite a variety. Luciana herself, she's from the healthcare, but then again, there are a lot of people from finance and manufacturing and so on. It's quite diverse. It's quite diverse, isn't it? And you get different experience from different industries, which is also very interesting. So because each industry has its own way of looking at businesses, the way it's organized, and you get all this into the classroom, which is quite interesting. And another thing you'll see is there are some international students in the class. So again, you're going to have an international view. So it might be someone from Sweden, like Tim, or it might be someone from Morocco or something. So again, there'll be people or China. So there'll be people from different countries, different backgrounds, different professional experience. And the whole thing makes the cohort very diverse. And it's very, really interesting.
Yeah, totally. Let me just say on top that I was checking the question as well. And basically all the areas that are written here, we cover all this. So finance, audit, public, healthcare. I mean, everybody. Yeah, we have engineers as well, which is quite interesting. You will love to meet engineers. I mean, it's really an interesting way of looking at things. So it's very, very diverse. And on top, we have entrepreneurs as well. Okay, so we have people that are building their own business and that actually maybe sometimes it's even a business different from their original background that they have. So that's really, really powerful as well to deal with. Yeah.
Okay. While we're waiting for some more questions, maybe Ines, do you want to say something else? You know, you're going to be the one that's going to be, in touch with applicants. So, anything you want to say to them?
Yes. Hello, everybody, and thank you very much for joining us today. I would just like to let them know that we are accepting applications right now, and there's a current promo deadline, which is an early bird discount of 10% for applications submitted until the end of June. So I'd like to share that with them. And well, if you submit your application until the end of this month, you will secure a 10% discount in the fees. Also, I can share the application process, which is all online. It's an online submission. And it's every applicant, every candidate has to submit also and upload their documents, which are a motivation letter, a reference letter, an updated CV, a photo, their academic transcripts, and an ID document. And there is no application fee. The first payment is after the admission. It's the registration fee. It's only after the admission. So yes.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So I don't see any more questions from the attendees. So again, I think it's about it. So, I mean, this is all online. We're here. If you need to ask some more questions, please do. I'm going to interview all of you, the ones that will apply. So again, we have another chance to talk. And but for the meantime, thank you for being here. And thank you, Luciana, once again, for sharing your experience. And Inez and the executive team and Beatrice to put all this together, all right? So this is going to be recorded. And again, if you needed some of this later, you can always have access to it. So thank you very much. And I'll see you soon.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.